I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has revealed the Dham of Sri Vrindavan. Nama Shreshtam an manamapi sachiputramatra sarupam Shri Rupam tasya grajam urupadim matarim goshtavatim Radha kundam giriparamoho radhika madhavasham prapto yasya pratitikipaya Shri Gurum tam natosmi. Here, Imlitala, Imli means what's the name? Tamarind tree. And that these tamarind trees, they can grow to a very large size and live for a long time. And this Imlitala tree has been here since the time of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, who used to come here from Akrūra-ghāt, and he would sit and chant his japa. So nice to know that the founder of the Gauḍīya Sampradāya chants japa. It's a good indication of what's important, because he would sit here from early morning time until the late morning, early afternoon, chanting japa under the Imlitala tree. So you can keep that idea in your mind when you chant japa, because Mahajano yena gatasa panta ambujākṣākhila-sattva-dhāmni samādhinā veśita-cetasaiketvat-pāda-potena mahat-kṛtena kurvanti govatsa-padaṁ bhavābdhim. The demigods praying to Lord Krishna within the womb say, we should develop a samadhi on Krishna. Why? Because He's the source of everything. And if you give your attention to Krishna, ananya-cetāḥ satataṁ yomam smarati nityaśaḥ tasyāhaṁ su-labhaḥ nitya-yuktasya yogina. Krishna says in Bhagavad-gītā, it's very easy. Simple process. Think of me always. And the Bhagavatam verse says, make your vision one-pointed. Just concentrate on Krishna. Then it says, tvayy, mahat-kṛtena. How do you do that? You follow in the footsteps of the mahat, the greats. So who are the greats? We have Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Name a few more. Huh? Sad Goswami, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhishmadev. They all chanted japa. I kuler pasyamanam. All the liberated souls, says Rupa Goswami, Nikila Shuti Mali Ratnamala Duti Nirajita Pada Pankatanta, I Mukta Kalera Pasyamanam Paritastam Harinama Shamsharami. They all chanted japa of the holy name, as this is the main process. And mahat-kṛtena, they make a system, these great souls. They make a system for themselves, they make it easy for themselves, and then they leave the system behind for everyone else. Pada-potena mahat-kṛtena, and because they leave the system behind, we're called the Acharya Sampradāya. That's what we do. We're the Acharya we follow the Acharyas. So we look at the Acharyas and say, what is the system they left behind? Starting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came here to chant japa from early morning till afternoon, sitting under the Imlitala tree. Then we say, I'll follow that process. Come hell or high water. High water comes, you'll still be on the roof chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna. Just like one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, he was condemned to the Changa. You know this, the Changa. Who went on the Changa? Gopinath Pattanayaka. Gopinath Pattanayaka. He had been involved in some money issues, and the prince, the son of Prachaparuja Maharaj, was a bit of a pill, and he wanted to get paid back from Gopinath Pattanayaka, and he was pinching him a little bit about it, and Gopinath Pattanayaka offered his horses, really good horses, and the king gave him a lowball figure of how much that would cover his debt, and Gopinath said, they're worth much more than that. Now see, about the prince, he had a tic where he couldn't stop moving his neck like this. It was a biological anomaly. And so Gopinath Pattanayaka said, yeah, well, my horses don't do this, so they're worth a lot more. So the prince got so angry, it was a personal issue, so he ordered him placed on the Changa. A Changa is this high platform, and underneath it, it's got these swords sticking up from the ground, sharp swords. And to execute people, they'd push them off the changa. So he put Gopinath Pratanyayaka up on the changa, and he wanted him to pay his debt. And so what was Gopinath Pratanyayaka doing up there? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. They wouldn't let him keep his japa beads up there, so he made a little mark on his arm every time he finished a round, and he was keeping track. That means hell or high water. Whether you get put on the changa, or whether you just came into some inheritance, you stay the same. Suke duke bhulo nako varane harinam korore. Keep chanting Hare Krishna. So, pada-potena, mahat-kṛtena means that if you do this, if you follow the system that the great souls have done, the mahats, then your path becomes easy-ish. There's a way in which the ocean of the material world is something that nobody can cross, especially by grabbing on, says Kaviraj Goswami, to the tail of a dog. If you see a dog at the beach and you say, "Here, boy, come here, take me across the ocean," and you grab onto his tail and you're like, "Swim," you'll drown. And so will the dog. So all the ways we try to try to avoid the miseries of the material world, they're like grabbing onto the tail of a dog. Say, "Go ahead, boy, you can do it, swim across," and you both drown in the material world. Doesn't matter, big scientists or politicians, they're promising tax cuts or whatever it is, everyone thinks this will make a difference. It won't make any difference. You're still going to be drowning in the material world. So the only process is to find what the mahats are doing, the Acharya Sampradāya, and follow them, follow their process. And they're so kind that they leave behind their process for us, as we were speaking at Kadamba, in the form of books and a sampradāya where they pass down. This is the exact teaching, and this is the mood of how to follow it. And then when you do that, then the ocean in the material world, it shrinks. When you approach the boat, which is the process, it shrinks to the size of the water contained within the hoof print of a calf. You don't even need the boat, you can step right over, because the process is authorized by the Acharya Sampradāya. So it's a lesson we can learn from Imlitala. Just take heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat here all morning long and into the late afternoon just chanting japa when he was here in Vrindavan. So you can remember that when your mind says, "Oh, let me do something else, maybe I'm too busy." Just remember the Mahat, the greatest of all. Nobody's better than Lord Chaitanya. That's just a fact. There's nobody better than Lord Chaitanya. And if you just follow Lord Chaitanya, if you have faith in Lord Chaitanya and follow Lord Chaitanya, then the process becomes simple. So Imlitala is famous. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was attracted here because he'd been here before. Lord Chaitanya is Kṛṣṇa. 5,000 years before, in his amorous pastimes here in the Dham, when Srimati Radharani was not visible, he thought, how can I get any juice from this dance? If she's not here, it's no use to me. And in separation, he came here and he sat under the Imlitala tree thousands of years ago. And in separation from Radharani, chanting her name again and again, thinking of her, he took on her effulgence. And precursor to the appearance of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, because Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyanya. And when he was here pining for Srimati Radharani, he took on this golden hue. So Krishna turned gold. Can you think of a time when Lord Chaitanya turned black? When he accepted Madai and Jagai, because Madai was the worst of them. Jagai had capitulated and Madai took a second longer. Then he capitulated. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and he took all their sins based on the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And all the devotees were looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they said, well, how do I look? He said, you look like Krishna. Because he turned black. Because he took on all the sins of Jagai Madai. So there's ways in which the Lord may appear at different at different times in different colors. Ashan Varnas Trayo Yasya, as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord appears in different colors at different times. And the Lord, according to his moods, takes on different colors. Shri Kishore Kishori, anybody here from Chicago? Give a shout out to Chicago. You know the deities in Chicago? Shri Kishore Kishori? First of all, we always say Radha Krishna, right? But here we have Kishore Kishori. And somebody says, Prabhupada, don't we say the energy first? And he said, we save the best for last. And then somebody else said, but Prabhupada, Krishna's black, he's white here. And he said, it's out of ecstasy. And that's the thing. In the Gauḍīya Sampradāya, it's mentioned that sometimes Krishna, out of ecstasy, he'll change color from black to white. And so here at Imlitala, Krishna, who came here blackish, meditating on Srimati Radharani, again, the prophetic of how he would appear in Kali Yuga, due to his own desires. He was thinking, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayaiva Swadyo Yena Bhuta Madarima Kidrisho Mariyaha Saukyam Chasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisho Veti Loba Tatbhavadas Samajani Sachigarba Sindhu Harindu. He came specifically out of his own desire to experience the bliss, the greatness of Srimati Radharani's love, the sweetness of the love, and he wanted to feel it for himself. So he came as combined form of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So here, that idea was conceived when he came here and he changed the colors. And one point of carryover from our discussion, which hopefully we can keep the thread going for a few more minutes, of the three deities of Vrindavan. So in conceiving of the three deities, Srila Prabhupada in his commentary on 18 Thakur Godayaki Karyachana Atmasat, 18 Neracharan Vandontine Moranat, mentions that the verse, he mentions that the initiating spiritual master represents Madan Mohan. So why is that? As we discussed earlier, the mantra, you'll like that, Hare Krishna. The mantra, Divyam Jnanam Yato Dadyat Kuryat Papasi Sangshayam Tasmat Dikshet Prokta Deshikais Tattvagovidai. The Kovidas know that when you receive the mantra, this is the Divyam Jnanam that awakens you to your eternal constitutional position. So the Guru, the Diksha Guru, cows, explosions, whatever. So the Diksha Guru is the one who gives the mantra that awakens one to one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of God. And then we talked about how Govindaji represents the Abhideya. And the verse, a verse given by Rupa Goswami, which is compelling. He says, and this is included in the Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, the translation of which is, my dear friend, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands on the bank of the Jamuna at Kṛṣṇa. Don't go there. Casting sidelong glances, he places his flute to his lips, which seemed like newly blossomed twigs. His transcendental body, bending in three places, appears very bright in the moonlight. So what do you find unusual about this verse? Reverse psychology. Samyaprasad said. I'll read the first part. My dear friend, if you're indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Govinda. Govinda. Whenever we say Govinda, that happens somewhere. So much for your cell phones. Hey Govinda.
Hey Govinda. Hey Govinda. Hey Govinda.
So just finish the thought, and that is that Govindaji represents Abhideya. And Kaviraj Goswami mentions that the Shiksha Guru represents Govindaji in this world, as the Shiksha Guru tells us how to chant the mantra. So, which is more important? The one who gives the seed or the one who shows you how to water the seed? Both are important and both are necessary. So, there's a way in which we learn abhideya, or the process of devotional service, through our Shiksha Gurus, of which there can be many. One Diksha Guru, you'll need one person to give you the seed mantra, and then those who instruct you in the ways of manifesting the mantra, as a gardener would, as Lord Chaitanya said. You have to water in a certain way. A Shiksha Guru may instruct you also how to be aware of the weeds that are growing, so you don't water the weeds while you're chanting, because then they'll grow strong and stronger than the original bhakti creeper. And then one has a practical way of tapratveina nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchite. When the senses become purified, they're naturally attracted to the superior sense objects. When we're born into the world, Kapila Dev says, and so does the Hamsa Avatar in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, as soon as we come out of the womb of our mother, we're already attracted to the sense objects of the world, because the mind is embedded in the sense objects are embedded in the mind. You don't even have to think about it. You just naturally gravitate towards the sense objects of the world. So through the abhideya process, one learns how to transfer one's sense urges from the material world, where you don't get anything in return except for misery. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta konteya nate shuramate buddha. To this realm where your senses are actually fully engaged in seeing Krishna, using your hands to make garlands for Krishna. Your tongue is tasting the food offered to Krishna. Your legs are used in walking to the temple. Can you suggest 3 more? What? Your eyes? What are your eyes doing? See the deity. Hands in washing the temple. Smelling the flowers. Ears in hearing. So all the senses can be engaged in Krishna's service. This is abhideya. And then when the senses are engaged in Krishna's service, they become purified, and there's an awakening in the senses that this is the real sense gratification. So I love this verse because Rupa Goswami is indicating it's willful. We should know what our options are in this world and make a decision. Just gamble away your life. There's 4 regular principles. One is no gambling. But we gamble our life because my idea is that it's a great gamble to give my senses to Krishna, because what will I do? How will I survive? Right? And Narada Muni says, tasyāhaṁ hetu prayate ko vido nalabhyate yad brahmutam uparayada talabhyate dukkadavan anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabira rambasa. There's a way in which he assures us that whatever you're going to get in the material world is going to come anyway. But if you use your senses and just invest them in Krishna, there's all gain and no risk. Whereas in the material world, there's all risk and no gain. It's categorically a lost cause. And I was walking the other day and I saw in the crack of the sidewalk the remnants of a cigarette. And it was burnt all the way almost down to the filter. And I was thinking as I passed it, as I walked past, I thought, a filter on a cigarette. Why not just not smoke in the first place? I mean, you try to filter it out. Why even inhale it in the first place? What are you trying to filter out of it? The whole thing is a lost cause, even if you put a filter on it. So the whole material world is this idea of mitigation of all the miseries, and just forget the whole thing. And Krishna's waiting for us to take our pledge and just say, okay, I'll just give up the whole thing, the whole smoking habit altogether, I'll give up, I'll take shelter of Krishna. So we can make a prayer here at Imlitala that we'll feel inspired by, that we may feel inspired by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, who came here every day to chant japa. Kirtan's popular. Japa, it's making a comeback. We have an organization called Make Japa Great Again. And if one can make japa great in one's life, guaranteed you're going to have success in spiritual life. And there's 3 P's. They are practice, practice, practice. We can follow in the footsteps. May we, dear Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, here at Imlitala, we pray at your lotus feet that we may become great practitioners of japa and advocates of repeating your holy name, advocating to our own minds, so that we may follow in your footsteps and attain Govindaji in the practice of devotional service. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat, or as they say in Japan, Om Tato Sato. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, please say Hare Krishna. Divyanam Prabhu? We can do a bhajan. I got a bhajan in mind, in fact. Kali Kukur. Oh, what's the other Lord Chaitanya bhajan we do? Ujjvala Varna. We're going to do Ujjvala Varna. It's perfect for this place because we're going to remember Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But I warn you, this bhajan's so nice, it may drive you crazy. You won't be able to get it out of your head, and you're going to walk around all day. Hey, look it. First I got to remember the tune so you can play it. Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Nivasita Niravani Bhava-videham Tribhuvana Pavana Krupaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Śrī Caitanya.